Okay, so what happens when you have what looks like the perfect corporate job, your magna cum laude graduate, your future's all mapped out, and you decide to just throw it all away to chase a dream? Well, today, we're going to get into the incredible story of Jerry Ilao. This is a guy who lost 1 million pesos on failed businesses before he finally stumbled upon the one idea that would change everything. But before we dive into all the failures and the money lost, I want to start with this quote, because this is the core of it all. This is the real why that pushed him through everything. So keep this in the back of your mind as we go through his whole journey. So where does a story like this even begin? Well, it's not in some garage like you might think. Nope. It starts in the very polished, very corporate hallways of one of the biggest companies on the planet. So let's meet the pre-entrepreneur Jerry Ilao. I mean, on paper, this guy had it all. He was a CPA, a top graduate, and a total rising star at Procter & Gamble. We're talking handling global finance, anti-fraud teams, the whole shebang. It was secure, it was impressive, and yeah, it paid really, really well. But even with all the money and the world-class training, there was this nagging feeling. Something just wasn't quite right. He had this pull towards doing his own thing, an entrepreneurial itch that he just couldn't ignore. So while he was still working that demanding job at P&G, he decided, okay, I'm going to scratch it. And that decision led him down a very, very bumpy and super expensive road. So let's get into this series of hard lessons that he was about to learn. All right, so his first shot was way back in 2001. He took his savings and opened up a ladies' boutique in his hometown, Naga City. You have to picture this. He'd spend his weekends running around the crazy markets of Divisoria, buying stuff, and then shipping it all back home for his parents to manage. And the business did okay for a little bit, but pretty soon the cracks started to show. It was like he got hit by this triple threat. First, inventory was an absolute nightmare to manage. Second, his pricing just wasn't enough to cover the cost of all the clothes that didn't sell. And third, new, cheaper competition moved right in. So after just 1 year, he had to shut the whole thing down. But here's the thing, this wasn't just a failure. It was basically his first real business class. This is where he learned some fundamental lessons, like how hard it is to manage a ton of different products, that just doubling your cost for a price doesn't actually make you profitable. And maybe most importantly, that your business absolutely needs a way to stand out. Now, instead of just giving up, Jerry took those lessons and he decided to try again. This time, he jumped on what was a really popular trend, a mobile car wash service, again in his hometown. His logic was pretty simple. I hate waiting for my car to be washed, so this has got to be a good idea. But this time, the venture came with a totally different set of problems. See, it wasn't about products anymore. It was all about people. He was dealing with everything: absenteeism, theft, shoddy work, and he was trying to manage all of this from Manila, long distance. It just quickly spiraled into a total operational nightmare. So this failure taught him a whole new set of rules. He realized that managing people in a service business is just incredibly complex. He learned that you have to standardize the work to get any kind of quality, and that, wow, it is way harder to track money when you don't have physical inventory you can actually count. Okay, so for his third try, he went in a completely different direction. He had this small piece of mountain land that he'd bought for his parents. And on a friend's suggestion, he turned it into a weekend grill restaurant that had this spectacular view overlooking the city. And you know what? This one actually worked. It created a huge buzz and people were flocking to it. But then, disaster struck. For reasons totally outside of his control, security concerns popped up in the area and they were forced to just abandon the entire project. It was another big investment, gone, just completely down the drain. This whole string of failures, it all led up to Jerry's lowest moment. But ironically, that's what also became his most important turning point. 1 million pesos. After 3 failed businesses, that's how much of his hard-earned corporate salary was just gone. Money he could have used for a new car, a down payment on a house, anything. This was the total price tag for his entrepreneurial education. And that financial loss, it came with a huge emotional toll too. He got excited about another new idea, and he called his mom to tell her. But her response, which came from a place of love and worry, was this question: how much money will you lose again this time? Just imagine the weight of hearing that. But Jerry's reply, this is what defines his entire journey. He didn't even hesitate. He just told her, "Mom, I know someday I will hit it right." It was this moment of pure, stubborn, unwavering belief in his passion, even when all the evidence said he should quit. And that unwavering determination is exactly what finally led to his big breakthrough. This is where all those painful, expensive lessons really started to pay off. Now, what's so fascinating here is just how dramatically he shifted his strategy. I mean, after losing 1,000,000 pesos, his big breakthrough idea wasn't funded with some huge investment. In fact, he started his next company, Inc. All You Can, with just 10,000 pesos. So in 2005, he found an idea that directly solved his past failures. He discovered a new ink-saving technology. It was a product so good it basically sold itself, which solved that differentiation problem from the boutique. And he started it as a home-based, one-man show, which completely eliminated the people management headaches from the car wash. The business just grew on its own, fueled by a product that actually worked. And just look at this growth. By 2007, only 2 years in, he was confident enough to finally quit that prestigious job at P&G and go all in. A decade later, he's celebrating his 10th anniversary. And today, Inc. All You Can has 20 branches all over the country. So after the 1,000,000 peso loss, after all the years of struggle, and then the massive success, what did Jerry realize was his ultimate reward in all of this? Well, it all comes back to that first quote we saw. The real win wasn't just about the profit. It was this number. More than 100 deserving employees who are able to live a decent life, who can eat 3 times a day, all because of the business he simply refused to give up on. You know, Jerry Ilo's story is such a powerful reminder that failure is often just the tuition you pay for your future success. Every single loss taught him a critical lesson he needed for his ultimate win. And that really leaves us with a question to think about. If you're facing some kind of setback right now, what lesson is your next failure trying to teach you?